Just wanted to take a second, go over the outline of your literary essay that you're going to be doing. This is going to be due this week, and I wanted you to have as many resources and tools as you could before you decide to submit it for your final grade. This is going to be a mastery score, but it's a mastery score. Normally, we grade your essays with 12 points. This one's going to be weighted 1.5, so it's going to be 18 mastery points. So it's going to be a pretty big deal as we go through with this assessment. So let's make sure that our writing is the best it can be. So here's the outline. You do have this, but I wanted to kind of refresh your memory as to what that looks like. So you're going to have your intro. This is what you're used to writing. You have your hook. Remember, you can start with a quote. You can have just an interesting thing, an interesting thought. You can tell a real short little story. You can ask a question. Remember, try not to use the word you in your question. Try to make it a deeper, thought-provoking question. Then you're going to have 1 or 2 sentence summary of your story. Remember, you're writing about that short story that you read on Common Lit. So tell me what's your story about. Include the author's last name in the text title. Then you're going to have your thesis or your claim. And that you're going to have the theme in. So that way you're going to wrap up your intro talking about your theme, and then your theme, you're going to be able to see it as you write your entire essay, and you're going to keep referencing to that theme, and that's going to keep your essay focused. Okay. Then you're going to have 2 to 3 body paragraphs. That's going to kind of depend on your short story. If it's a longer story and you see that theme at the beginning and the middle and the end, then you're going to have that in all 3 body paragraphs. If it's a shorter story and you only have it in like the beginning and the end, then you're only going to have 2 body paragraphs. Make sure that when you do that, you have textual evidence. So you want to make sure that you have direct quotes. If you feel comfortable doing a paraphrase, do a paraphrase, but make sure that you have the author's last name and the paragraph number when you cite it. The other stuff that you need to mention is author's craft. We've talked about that. Do they use figurative language? Is there a certain long sentence punctuation type thing that they do? So if you have that, make sure that you include that and talk about how that shows the theme. We spend a lot of time on that, and that should be part of your essay. So again, you have your intro, and all that stuff's going to be in your 2 to 3 body paragraphs. We have a sample body paragraph to show you. And so once you take a look at that and you know how that looks, you'll be able to do the same. Make sure that evidence-wise, you have 3 total pieces. So you decide if you want 1 per body paragraph, that's fine. If you decide to do 2 body paragraphs, then you need a 3rd piece of evidence somewhere. But at least 3, and it needs to all be properly cited. And then your conclusion, you're going to revisit your hook, just kind of mention it. If it was a question, answer it. Re-mention your story. Do not say the same words, though. You have to put things in your own words. You're going to rephrase your thesis, talk about what's going on with your thesis, and then, sorry about that, I don't know why that's there. Rephrase your thesis, and then at the end, you're going to include a so what statement. Like, remember, that's your mic drop. What is the last thing you're going to say that's going to make your reader think deeply about what you're saying? So here's that graphic organizer that we've been sharing. Strong claim, that's your thesis, that's your theme. You have your good structure, you have evidence, you summarize parts of the story, so you're retelling the story in certain ways that the reader is going to understand what's going on in your story. Here's your intro, you have good transition words, that's important. In the writing folder on Schoology, there's that big old list of transition words, use it, okay? And then your evidence explanation is strong, okay? And we'll get into that, but you do not want this to be your author's words. Yes, you're going to have text evidence, but the most information that's going to be in here is going to be from you. You're the writer here, okay? So here's a sample. It's not all the way done, but here's a sample using all summer in a day. So here's my header up at the top, my name, my teacher's name, which is me. And then you have the grade level, and then when it is due, it's this Friday. And then you have a title. So I called mine Jealousy. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But here's my intro. So remember, we start with a hook. And mine is like just a short little story that's going to gather my reader's attention. Ray Bradbury's dystopian story, All Summer in a Day, takes place on Venus, a planet where it rains all the time. That makes me want to keep reading and figure out what's going on. So here's my summary. Margot, a recent arrival on Venus, remembers what the other children cannot. She remembers the warmth of the sun and how beautiful sunshine can be. Margot is grieving the loss of the sun. The other children are jealous that she even remembers. There's my summary. Now, my theme goes into my thesis or my claim. One lesson that the story suggests is that when people can't get over their own jealousy and pain, they sometimes wind up hurting others. And that's what we've been talking about using all summer today. That is a theme that we can learn, that jealousy is going to cause you to hurt other people. And that's where that is in that story. So that's my last sentence of my intro paragraph um, is my thesis, so I can reference back to it. Here's a sample body paragraph from the very beginning. There's a transition. The details in the story show the children's pain. So there's my topic sentence. Clearly, I'm going to be talking about the beginning of the story. They are painfully jealous because Margot has seen the sun and they have not. Bradbury, that's the author, describes how Margot stood apart from them, these children who could never remember a time when there wasn't rain and rain and rain. They were all 9 years old, and if there had been a day 7 years ago when the sun came out for an hour and showed its face to the stunned world, they could not recall. And that's from paragraph 11. See how that's cited there, where I have the author's last name and then the paragraph, okay? And that is a direct quote. So now I'm going to explain it. And my explanation is really going to prove the theme, okay, which is going to keep my essay connected. This line shows that Margot, it turns out, lived on Earth once, and she has seen the sun. The other children have not, and she makes their world of dreary rain even more painful to them. The children were struggling with their jealousy of her experiences and eventually turned mean towards Margot, okay? That's how it is at the beginning. Did I mention author's craft yet? No. So I know that in my next body paragraph or two, I'm going to mention author's craft. I don't have an example of that for you, but I know as I'm writing, that's got to be in here, right? That's part of my checklist. And then here's my conclusion. In conclusion, the pain of the children proved to cause pain for Margot. Clearly, the theme of the short story All Summer Today is that jealousy can cause people to hurt others. This is seen when the children in the story cause Margot to suffer simply because they were jealous of her experience in Ohio. When you can't get over your pain, whether it's grief or jealousy, you wind up hurting others. And that's my so what statement at the end. Like I said, make sure that you follow the outline. If you have all these guidelines in it and your explanation's strong and you have text evidence and you talk about the author's craft and how that shows the theme, which we've done some work on, go back and revisit what you wrote about that. You'll be fine. Don't hesitate to ask for help. Have us check your writing. Have us check in with you. That's what we're here for. So, all right, well, good luck and happy writing.